if we are not afraid of what we see and experience in our with our clients, so we can say every every expression, even if it's not even if it's not nice for us. So it's so important information about the status of the process, where they are and where they cannot go yet. And so a lot of people in the training courses always say, so, but the phases are clear, the principles are clear, but what do I do if someone resists, if someone doesn't speak anymore, if someone gets up and wants to leave the room? And I promised them to rethink these negative trances, let's say, and in order to turn it into relevant information about the process that we can say hooray. So I'm curious who of you can say after this presentation, hooray, I'm looking forward for the next resistance or the next blockade. So let's start. Hooray for a blockade, a systemic and hypnosystemic view on blockades in mediation. So I'm going to speak about rethinking blockades, systemic and hypnosystemic perspectives, functional meaning of resistant behavior, and what blockades reveal about us as mediators, and a practical four-step approach, and my conclusions. So blockades are information. Blockades are not disturbances in the mediation process. They are signals that the system shows us its current limits and needs. So see the cartoon. It's very old, and so I read it. You say, off with her head. But what I'm hearing is, I feel neglected. So what we label as blockade is, for example, shouting, aggression, silence, withdrawal, repetition of positions, refusal to engage. But on closer inspection, these behaviors have an impact on our process, not theirs. We are blocked because we don't know how to deal with it. The systemic principles are all behavior is functional. It serves a purpose within the system, within a part of a system. Nothing is irrational if you understand the logic behind it. So we have to look behind the logic. So if you, for example, if we look at drug addiction, of course, drug addiction has its positive aspects. It's relaxation, and it helps us to make friends, relations, conversation. So for a part, even though it causes major problems, but for a part it is has a relevant function. Example, shouting. Shouting is often a last attempt to be heard, a sign of high internal activation. A coping mechanism when other strategies failed. So if I hear shouting in mediation, so I won't judge it. I won't say, so here we don't shout, but I would say, so I heard you shouting, but it makes me wonder what we didn't hear in the last two sessions or in the last minutes, so that you had to shout as to make you understandable. Silence, for example, may mean protection from further harm, a lack of trust that dialogue will help, a need for safety before speaking. Consequences cannot be foreseen yet, and so I better be silent. A hypnosystemic view. Blockades reflect trance-like states. The perception is narrowed, focused threat, limited action options. So we have to accept that people are, or to understand that people are not unwilling. They are in a protective mode. What is a program of the limbic system? It is involuntarily, just like flushing, increased respiratory rate, etc. So they can't act in another way. So because their limbic system says, oh, there is emergency, you are in need, so be careful, don't continue, don't go a step further. Persons in distress pull the handbrake. So it's a pity that this picture I can't use any longer because it's not actual anymore, because you don't pull, today you press the handbrake. So, but we have to identify with all our empathy and acceptance the specific distress of the person. So we have to go into the person, with the person, into the person. And she or he can learn that down here with us, there is no need to pull the handbrake. There would be a need in the mountain or in a steep road at the traffic lights, standing and starting, but not here in a system that gives safety. So if we can give that, so we have to know and to consider the safety needs of the person, that she don't have to pull the handbrake. And she or he has to shift the context. It's good to protect yourself, but perhaps we can find out together what it means for our mediation context, where you need to protect yourself and where you can find a safety room that is given by the mediator. Blockades in mediators. A blockade becomes a blockade when we don't know how to handle it. It's, as I said, it's not really a blockade if someone's screaming or doesn't speak any longer anymore. It's our feeling not to know how to handle it that blocks us. So we feel pressure and we feel frustration and we feel the loss of structure. They don't continue as we imagined. So we have a phase model, we have principles, but they with their feelings and with their needs, they don't fit in that structure at the moment. So our reaction influences the process. And self-reflection helps. So what is our part in the blockade, and what is the part of the client that shows us that he is not safe or that he can't go any step further. So the four-step approach is validating, invite curiosity, decenter hypnosystemically, co-regulate. This helps to transform. This helps transforming blockades into cooperation. So ignore the right side. So we have it later in the number 3 and 4. So first, validate. It reduces pressure, acknowledges protective strategies, strengthens alliance and safety. For example, if you say, your reaction makes sense from a perspective we can uncover together. So we research together why the person behaves like resistant or blocking. So we have to research together because our questions are giving information to the client. So we don't gather only information by the client, but we form informations with our questions with the client. Invite curiosity that reveals underlying meaning, opens up new options, and builds shared understanding. If this reaction, for example, if this reaction is so important right now, what might it be protecting you from? What would feel risky if you acted differently at this moment? So this is a question that is the shifting into another context. So we do appreciate that protecting yourself is very important and very intelligent. But where do you need the protection? And what kind of protection do you need to go to be able to go a step further? That's the question. Is there a question? I heard somebody. Decenter hypnosystemically creates a reflective distance and shifts to resource orientation instead of deficits, lack orientation, removes pathological interpretations. Imagine this behavior, could be a question. Imagine this behavior where a message about what the system still needs, what might it be pointing to? And then co-regulate is slowing down, calm voice pauses, transparency, small manageable steps, safety before solutions. So the question could be, before we continue speaking, let's first look at what you need right now in order to breathe here. This can help transforming blockades into cooperation. So I'm already with my closing insights. That means blockades reveal meaningful needs. People regulate as best as they can at the moment. And blockades are invitations to relationship. Who will say, hooray, it's a blockade? A big thank you. It's a very short presentation, but perhaps we can speak with each other about the rethinking of blockades and resistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. I think we can definitely open the floor to everyone here present, maybe to comment or to have a question, maybe from your own experience. I see Ole has already raised his hand, so I'll just hand over to you immediately so we can try to get everyone to discuss.
Thank you very much, Frank, for this presentation. It really opens to me new dimensions of working with resistance and mediation. I would like to share my experience that really helped me with such a case, with the resistance with the blockade, with shouting, powerful shouting in a case. And a short brief story about what helped me to cope with it. I get a book from a family psychologist, a Ukrainian psychologist, Mikhail Gorodok. And he will...
A family psychologist or family mediator?
No,
okay.
A family psychologist, yeah. He specializes on nonviolent communication.
Okay.
And there it was a very interesting chapter about when we hear shouting, the person is not shouting at us.
Mm-hmm.
The person is shouting about feeling unsafe at the moment. The aggression is not about the will to make something bad to us. This is the will to shout about how hard it is to the person and how unsafe he feels now in the moment. And it was a situation, it was an individual meeting with the party in a long family mediation. Maybe it was the 8th or the 9th meeting. And the person starts shouting. The party starts shouting. And really, the first my reaction, I knew about this, what I've told you before. But my first reaction on the level of my body was also resistance. My muscles just make like this. And then I understood that, stop, this person is not shouting at me, not shouting at my accommodator. The body is shouting about how unsafe and how hard it is at the moment for him. And I wrote a message to my co-mediator, let's give a space for shouting, because I also remember the William Ury and Fisher phrase that the person can't continue shouting more than 20 minutes if you don't interrupt him. Okay. And we gave this space. And with, after this, really we gave validation about, yeah, it seems that it's very hard for you now. And maybe it's about being unsafe at the moment, correct? And the transformation that happened was amazing. It was like a balloon which just make like, and then person.
So some kind of relief.
Yeah,
you want to
absolutely.
say. Mm-hmm.
And then the person body asked, it was online mediation, can I start cooking because I feel hungry now? And we said, yeah, actually, absolutely. And there was radio earphones and the laptop. The body put the laptop and started cooking, and it was mediation and cooking at the moment. And the process was so productive during these 15 minutes. The body
And
really.
sorry, I don't want to interrupt you.
And really, it was not a traditional method of mediation process management. But at this time, it was so effective. So I just reviewed the sense of being flexible in mediation process, and I understood how hard it can be at the first moment to work with my resistance when somebody shouts or just starts crying, etc. And this knowledge, I was talking about this last 5 minutes. Just summarize that information that you gave here today is absolutely precious to work with the resistance. If we know this, if we understand this in the situation of crisis, because we're alive people, we also feel emotions. Despite that we were taught to work with them, we feel. And knowing what you told us today is a gem which can help to work with the resistance in very hard moments of mediation. So my sincere gratitude to you, Frank, for this.
Thank you. So what does it change in the dynamic process if I appreciate a behavior as a functional behavior So what does it make to me as a mediator, and what does it make to my medians, and how does the process could change? What does it do if I appreciate a behavior? So I open the discussion. What could it change to appreciate a behavior that is not agreeable to us? Oleg.
To me, this is an ability to start not competing with our clients about who is the manager here of a process or who is in charge here, but helping them to understand themselves, to understand their reaction, and to work through this, what is happening inside of them, and maybe which is disturbing them from finding a rational solution.
So they feel, resuming what I've heard from your contributions, is they don't feel wrong. They don't. They feel that there is somebody who tries to understand my difficult state in what I am. And this makes a relationship, and we know relationship is the factor with the highest impact for good or functioning therapy. It's a relationship and not the method itself, or the concept behind the method. It's relationship. And so it helps to make relationship.
Just looking at the chat, Sylvie was also saying that you acknowledge the feeling that the other party feels hurt, or that you, as Sandra put it, create space for different perspectives.
Okay, I have to.
Yeah, and I
look at
see
this.
Vanessa's hand is also
Vanessa.
raised.
Hello, Frank.
Hello,
Nice to see
Vanessa.
you again. I do actually want to say what it does to a relationship when you yell, when it comes from a threat, you usually expect somebody yelling back because that's the usual dynamics. And when you make that experience that somebody does not yell back, either just go into the relation and it's giving you another option, you think about changing your reaction in that process. Maybe, I don't have to do that, and it's going to just ease out, and it's giving you an option. I think this could be a learning process for even past the mediation.
It's some kind of model. So it's not what I expect, but there is a difference in mediation as in usual relationships where I have difficulties, perhaps. It's the added value of, at least of mediation,
Yes.
instead of nice conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Or not so nice conversations. Thank you, Vanessa. Ian.
Frank, hi. Yeah, I mean, my own background is peace building and peace security humanitarian background, and I loved your presentation because it's got some very good, amazingly insightful ideas about how to understand people's behavior. So for me, I think one, it helps us affirm what we think of their interests are, because we can see that they either feel aggrieved by something or they feel that they're not being heard properly. It helps us fine tune what we think the interests and the positions are of the parties. I think that's very useful. I think I've been in some pretty tricky situations where you have one dominant party at the table, particularly in the peace process, like in Myanmar, for example, the military, which you will never get past. And it's impossible to deal with them, absolutely impossible. You can occasionally get the odd chink in the armor where you be a little bit of light shines through and you can get an idea across. But the chance of actually changing them or even letting other people have their viewpoints while you're mediating or facilitating is actually extremely difficult. And I think the observation I wanted to make was that sometimes it's a question of timing. It's sometimes, as you say, they can have a question of timing. They can have that
timing.
shout and say, they can shout and they can say, you know, and you know at that point in time they're unhappy. And maybe if we have a chance to have bilaterals caucus, we can talk with them, we can get them to come round to a more appreciative view. And we may realize in that discussion that actually we may need to leave this for another couple of weeks. And certainly in our case, in peace process, you may need to give them a few more weeks, sow the ground a bit more, go and visit people individually, socialize the idea a bit more, and then bring back until the timing is right. And my experience many years ago of working in Afghanistan with many shuras with local people, and there was a famous saying which the Taliban had, which was that you in NATO have the clocks, but we control the time, not you. We decide when things are going to happen. And there's a certain amount of truth in that as a mediator, in the sense that you're trying to create a process which allows everybody to share the time together. And it's and some parties are more dominant than others. So how do you deal with that? I suppose that's my question.
So the main now let's say what I wanted to say is what I try to say is it's not only the method and principles that helps us, but it's more the attitude that forms our methods, that forms our questions. And the attitude is, for me, dominant in the relationship making process in order to give specific interest. No, that's not correct. So so that the other person can feel that I'm interested to reveal his inner state that where he has no access to. So, and he sees, I don't judge. Oh, people like me, mediators, don't judge, but they help me revealing my inner questions, my inner disturbances, and so they can try to, or they find a possibility to get in contact with themselves. So because we help them, and if we would judge them, they had to go in more resistance. I don't know if it's if your question is responded. Does it fit to your question?
No, it does, Frank. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think for me, I've always said that I feel mediation is the highest form of skill. So negotiations is a big skill, but mediation is very high because I've got this personal thing about mediators as leaders and negotiators as leaders. And as a mediator, you are a very subtle leader. It's about your example. It's about listening to people. It's about them copying your behavior. They see you and they say, wow, Frank is so calm. How does he keep calm in this? You know, and we should be calm like that. And they then start to behave in the same way. And that's, for me, is transformational mediation. So yes, it does answer my question, my point. I guess the tricky bit for us is how you say impartial. That's the tricky bit. And I was asked a question on training recently, a very good question, because I've worked a lot through translators and interpreters in different contexts. And we used to make a point that if you had two different factions, who shared a common language, but one of us spoke a language which they may see as problematic, we would use a third language, which they understood as well, so we were not seen to be partial to that conflict. So somebody spoke Karen, for example, somebody spoke Chin. If we start speaking only in Karen and interpret that, it looks as if we're on the side of the Karen. So we had to always be impartial about things. I think that's the difficult bit. I think the trick of a mediator is to have that impartiality, acknowledging their emotion, but being impartial is the key.
And being impartial is the point, because this is what people in the training courses often ask. So how is it possible to be impartial if there is a person that is ugly and behaves like a elephant or whatever? So, and to me, I just can answer, to me, impartiality is one of the easiest principles that I can fulfill because I'm so curious, and what do they think and what do they feel? And so I don't have it yet, but I'm so interested in what you are thinking. So, and to work good for you, I just have to understand better how you feel. I don't get it yet, but I try to find it out with you. So that's my way that leads me to impartiality. There are a lot of difficult things in mediation, I know, but impartiality is, I think, led by curiosity, and research motivation.
Yeah, I would agree. I definitely agree. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah.
Any other thoughts? Nelly.
Thank you very much for your presentation and for the valuable comments also from Ian. I'm wondering that in your experience or in anybody else's experience, while acknowledging the other person and acknowledging that they may be shouting because they're in distress or they are going through something else.
Oh. Do you hear Nelly?
Nelly is gone.
Frozen?
Yes, I don't hear it either.
Patronizing them instead of acknowledging that you're actually, you're trying to build that relationship. Is there the risk that you may be perceived as being patronizing?
So, Nelly, could you please restart your contribution, because I didn't understand it fully, because there was a technical disturbance.
I'm sorry about that. Okay, I just wanted to go back to your presentation and to say thank you for the presentation. And one of the comments or one of your recommendations is to try and develop a relationship by acknowledging the behavior. And my question is there a risk for you as the mediator that when you acknowledge the behavior, the person may consider that you're patronizing them instead of considering that you're being understanding and trying to be curious?
Is it rude?
Very interesting, Nelly.
Thank you.
So I'd like to answer if the tone is who's
Is someone, it is Ezeburo. Can you just put your audio?
okay.
If you're the
I think he's-
operator, you will be able to block the mic of the member of the meeting.
Let me do that.
Yeah, if you go
Somebody
to
else
participants,
is
go to participants,
right.
Dominic, you can then look down. It's Ezewuru. It's Ezewuru Ejikumi.
Yeah, I'm just trying to locate him here on my list.
You click on the windows
It's about-
and you will see a
It's
blue
about the third one down, I think. Yeah.
a blue field with 3 points. If you do the left click, normally you should be able or allowed to block the mic.
Can I try meanwhile to answer the question of Nelly?
I'm just trying to.
Or is
I
it-
can. It's very disturbing, Frank.
Okay.
I can't
Can you give
hear.
can you give me
okay.
Dominic, give me co-host and I'll do it. It'll take me 2
Okay.
seconds. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, fine, thank you.
Here we go.
Nelly, that's a very good question and very interesting question, and perhaps people feel like being patronized, the one or the other. But what I don't do for them is saying them what they feel, or saying them what they are in the moment. So I just mirror the situation, and I offer them to find out what they need and why this kind of resistance or blockade that seems to be one is in the room. So, but I don't say, oh, I understand well, when I don't understand it. So I just say, I hear you yelling, I hear you, or I see you, be silent, I see you getting up, but I don't comment or don't interpret what it is. So I just offer them to research together for what it's standing, the behavior. And I hope that could provide from patronizing. Is that an answer, Nelly, that satisfies
Yes,
you? Okay.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? We've got another 10 minutes or so to unpack and share our experiences on the topic. For me personally, the questions that you shared with us, I think really sort of like the penny was dropping for me, or what I took out from the presentation is really to ask the right questions when someone is having an emotional peak or an outburst, to then rephrase and ask.
Reframe and rephrase.
Yes, rephrase and rephrase, and to then, by the right question, facilitate a reflection, because now he or she has to actually think about it as to why they are reacting or behaving in that way. And I think that is where maybe the turning point can be, with that reflection of, but why, what is the trigger, or why am I responding like this? And sort of that pain body that comes forward is really what stood out. To just, through the right questions, there's really a potential shift in the entire discussion or mediation process.
And as it said before, so it's a change of in the expectation. It's a change of that can cause a change of pattern. So if they see, usually or they expect to be judged. So here we don't yell in this room, or here we need your cooperation, but you don't cooperate. So they expect that. Usually they are feeling wrong if they are in somehow resistance. And if they experience the difference, it can cause a change of their pattern. So this is the psychological hope, I'd say to change patterns if I have no success in conversation, I yell. If I don't have an idea, I'm silent, or I leave the room or something. But the interest, the research interest in what is there inside the person could change such patterns of behavior.
And that's, of course, the hard work also, because you are dealing with yourself in that regard. It's not easy to do, because it's often almost easier to blame or to put it on someone. But here we are really talking about having you to take responsibility as well. And with that reflection, very hard work is ahead to change a pattern, especially if it's something that comes for many years, or it's in your environment, or from childhood, or I mean, there's many reasons people. Yeah. So I was just emphasizing the internal hard work that is then ahead for the person to then really have a positive outcome is another journey on its own.
And I think, Frank, actually coming on from what Dominique just said, I think what is excellent about the approach that you just outlined is the importance of the mediator's positivity. I mean, you're stressing that our approach is positive. There is some kind of solution possible by these parties. We don't own that. We have no decision-making authority, but we've created the right conditions. We've listened. We've created an environment in which they can have that, and that nothing's off the table in that sense. Even if people behave badly for a while, you've got rules. You can try and bring them back to those rules. If you need to spend a bit more time with either party just to get them to understand that. But what I love about it and the general approach that you've shown is that positivity. For me, that's a big takeaway, very important one.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any more inputs or reflection on the presentation, or in your workspace, or in your mediation world that you move in, to share or to ask? I have a few questions here. Did someone pick up the hand? Okay, Natalie.
Not a question, but a thought for this. Maybe it's because I hear Frank the second time this week, and the function of behavior. So really, thank you for yesterday and for today, for this thoughts of the function of behavior. I feel it's like reflecting the situation and kind of compensation of power in mediation between the two parties, or also in other situations between the person who's maybe yelling or whatever, and then myself in front of the person. Frank, would you say it's kind of this, or am I wrong?
It's kind of what exactly? So I
compensation
have
of power.
mhm. A compensation of power that
So the
that
level
I
of
offer
power. Yep.
to the parties.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, because the other party listens to me when how I'm acting. So I think the feeling about the conflict party against the let's say yelling party could change as well if they hear that I'm able to acknowledge such a difficult behavior. So it's some kind of compensation that you speak about.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Any more curious people for one more question? Here's one for you, Frank. What's the most difficult situation you think you've dealt with somebody's behavior?
So my
In your
my most
experience, what is
difficult.
your most difficult situation you've ever dealt with in terms of somebody's behavior?
Oh, I think it was a physical fight between the between the medians that I have to resolve physically, not with words.
So one of those don't copy this at home types. So, thank you, Frank.
I saw a few asked about your presentation, whether we can share it. So yes, you can. I've put my email down. I'll just do it again in the chat. If anyone wants it, then of course I can forward to you the presentation.
Ole, you have a question?
Yeah. Frank, could you share? I've heard about this situation that sounds to me really difficult, physical fighting during mediation. And are there some methods that you use to restore your own emotional balance after such situation?
Okay. Co-mediation helps, and reflecting, evaluating with a with an expert. Supervision helps. To me, it's one very important thing to have regularly the supervision. And I try, after being angry, afraid, or confronted with negative feelings, after that, first they can occur, and I don't want to ignore them. But after that, I really try at my desk to find out what is the function of the behavior of that person that occurs me, and what is my part. What is not his part, but what is my part, why he got me. So it's self-reflection. If I've no supervisor close to me, or no expert in colleague close to me.
Yeah, thank you. So it's about curiosity and about trying to understand what is the functional part of behavior whenever it is.
What happens between us, and what happens in the room, and for what it is it standing for?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.